So why we left 1,540 agents behind at eXp Realty to join Real Brokerage. Hey, what's up, guys? Clayton Gitz here. I'm joined by my good friend and business partner, Dustin Brome. And today we're going to unpack why we collectively left behind 1,540 agents at eXp to start over at Real Brokerage. Dustin, thanks for being here, my friend.
Of course. Happy to do it. You and I have been working together for over 8 years now. So, I mean, the last 2 years have been quite a whirlwind, and I'm excited to tell the story.
Yeah, I've seen you grow up.
Me too.
Yeah, you went from kind of like soft and cuddly to like shredded and like a big boy
and prickly. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So let's jump into this, man. We one of the harder decisions. I've been in business for 21 years, and one of the harder decisions that I've made was walking away. And I know you can say the same thing. Was walking away from eXp to basically start over at Real Brokerage, not knowing, not really knowing, thinking that we knew, but not really knowing what this thing was going to look like, not really knowing if anybody was going to follow us. I think, you said it best when you planned on nobody following you. You just, I think we make these decisions based on what we believe is best for our family. And of course, the people that decide to ultimately follow us on this journey. But, we both kind of made this transition, like thinking we might be doing this by ourselves.
Absolutely. I remember there was like a 3 to 4 week period that was so stressful because there was so much unknown, right? It was just like, we had these big organizations and significant revenue share, right? So we knew we'd be like, that would just turn off and we'd be taking a big pay cut for a certain period of time. But there was also the unknown, like, okay, this looks good. In theory, it checks all the boxes. I'm excited about this, but how is it actually going to play out? And that was stressful. Like when I talked to my wife about it, to her credit, she's like, look, if you feel like this is a good move, I support you. And I'm like, that means we're going to take a pay cut. And I don't know for how long. And she's like, well, we'll figure that out because, I trust you. And, with her pushing me and supporting me, it gave me the permission, I guess, or the confidence to just say, you know what, let's go for it. Because I do believe that this is not just a slight improvement. I was never wanting to leave eXp just to save a couple $1,000s on a split or on some fees or whatever. In my mind, it needed to be a dramatic upgrade in all the different ways.
Yeah.
And I felt that it was, but until you actually jump, you don't know.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I will say it only took me 40 days to make up the revenue share that I had built up over 6 years at eXp. It took 40 days to get that back at Real.
Yeah, that's insane. It's
crazy.
Really, it is really crazy. And we're gonna get into that. And so, I think what we should talk about first is the why, because that's gonna unpack a lot of layers. And look, let me just say this up front. It is not our intention to talk negatively about any company, and that's not why we're here. We're here to tell you what we experienced personally during our seven for me, six and a half year run for you at eXp Realty. What led up to wanting to make the transition, so that anybody else that is out there thinking about, maybe it is time, but they don't know, they don't have the hindsight that we now have here 2 years later. This is our 2-year anniversary. The hindsight of experiencing this platform for 2 years and what makes it special. So let's talk about why, Dustin. Like what were the big, and let's triage this. Like what were the, from like the main reason that you decided to make the transition, and I'll jump in as well. So go on ahead.
Well, I'll tell you where it started because it's selfish. It started from a selfish place, and then it very quickly turned to being not selfish. So here's what I mean by that. Over the 6 years at eXp, and by the way, I built the business model that I have now because of eXp. Because of that model, I am forever grateful for the company, for the leadership there. Like, and I do feel like it is a it's a much better company than most. It still is a much better company than most out there. So I still have a lot of respect for it. But my business model is like I'm not personally selling homes anymore. I partner with agents and help them to sell a bunch of homes. I help them to build businesses. I help them to, dial in their lead gen and their content strategy so that they can go from 12 sales to 30. That's my business model. And eXp's model made that possible. And so because of that, like I was trying to get agents to partner with. And over those 6 years, I had 340 agents that came through. Well, I had over 730 agents total come through my organization in those 6 years. But one of the problems and frustrations was there was a big hole in the bottom of the bucket. And so the most I ever had active at one time was 340, which is a big organization. Very grateful for those partners. That's the day that I left, I had 340 agents. And the problem was I was watching my organization slowly get bigger and my revenue share go down. It just kept dropping. And my biggest revenue share month was 2 years before I left. And look, I think I'm a pretty smart guy, but I'm not like Wall Street analyst smart with this stuff. But I know enough to know that if your business is getting bigger, you're getting more partners, your income should be going up, assuming that they're selling houses. Well, that wasn't happening. And so that was a frustration. And it got me starting to look at some of the other things that I was frustrated about. The problem was, and I'd love to hear your take on this, I had my eXp jersey on too tight. I'm a team player. I always have been. Like high school football for me was like, I loved that. I loved everything about it, just the team nature of it. I still love identifying with certain groups and teams that I'm a part of now. And so I was absolutely a team player. But what that caused me to do was to discount everybody else just because it was somebody else. And it prevented me from looking objectively, like without any, it prevented me from really giving an honest look at any other brokerage, except for in the lens of we're better, you're worse. And so I never fully saw the opportunity at real because I never wanted to until I started to get frustrated by the income and about 10 other things that got me to look.
Yeah, that's good. No, and listen, man, I think one of the reasons why your jersey was on too tight is because you just your shirts are just too small for your
That's part of it. Yes.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. We can't lie to the people here.
Yeah. So, no, you bring up a really good point because I think, I come from, more so, and look, we're being transparent here, right? So, if you can't handle that, then, I'm sure we'll hear about it in the comments, or don't watch, but one of the things that we heard a lot at eXp was, this is like a pyramid scheme, like, because all anybody ever wanted to talk about was recruiting, right? And so having to have that conversation, well, no, like pyramid schemes are illegal, and blah, blah. But what was happening behind the scenes very much felt like a network marketing organization. And having a pretty strong background in network marketing, my wife was really high level in a number of companies, and unfortunately, and fortunately, I should say, but unfortunately, we went through a couple of transitions. One big transition from one company to another company, and
on your wife's side,
my wife's side, yeah. And so the cult-like experience that my wife is like one of the most beautiful people, like physically and outside and inside. She's just good. She's just a good human. But to watch the way that they attacked her on the way out the door, it said a lot about the culture at this particular company. And so what we both began to experience internally was this culture erosion. If we're being really honest, and I can say that with a lot of clarity because I had conversations behind closed doors with people that were at the top, people that from the top on down. And the conversation was, we have to stop tearing each other apart. Like we have to stop attacking people that are wearing the same jerseys just frankly for, for this, for money. And that culture piece for me personally, Dustin, was I couldn't do it. It just got icky. Again, for me, it felt very network marketish. And just like you, we had 3,375 people make their way through our network at eXp Realty, but we could never crest 1,540, right? And so, I paid attention to that. And so, to your point, there was this massive, hole for whatever reason, and I think we're going to talk about some of those reasons today. But it's hard work, it's hard work building someone else's business. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, with these models, they are sharing a percentage of that back with us, which is one of the things that makes it so cool. But it's still hard work. And so when I started looking at these different opportunities, and I talked to a bunch of different people, it wasn't just real. Like I explored to make sure that, I wasn't going to make a mistake because I knew I was going to have to start over, right? And so I thought I knew when I looked at real for the first time. I thought it was better, but I didn't really know until I spent 2 years here. So for me, the big reason, Dustin, was the erosion of the culture that I personally experienced. I don't want to ever have my friend Dustin, and this never happened, by the way, but just as an example, my friend Dustin having a conversation with somebody and saying, hey, you probably shouldn't partner with Clayton because he can't give you access to all the things that I can give you access to, all the free stuff, right? And that was probably one of the big reasons for me to lift my head up and start looking.
It's slimy. Yeah. And I had that happen 3 or 4 times within the month or so when I first started to really look at, do I leave eXp? And if so, where would I even go? So for me, that was part of the catalyst. There was this guy that I was really excited about who, this guy in Texas, that he was all ready to join me. And then I'm about to do an onboarding call with him and give him a game plan for how to hit the ground running. He's like, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to go with a different sponsor because they're giving me free office space. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, that's nice. That's fantastic. And then so-and-so's giving away a Tesla. And I'm like, this is really frustrating when we're all supposedly on the same team, but there's all these little brokerages within a brokerage. And I was part of your world, but I had to create my own, right? Yeah. I had to build my own little silo so I gave away my coaching for free. We did masterminds. I know you were absolutely exhausted by the masterminds, paying for your own onboarding specialist because the company's was horrible. Yeah. And it was just a lot. You're having to run your own brokerage inside a brokerage to compete with everybody else's. And that creates that icky, nasty, don't join them because I'm going to pay you or I'm going to give you this or so-and-so can't provide this or whatever. And it also really started to grind on me, Clayton, when this happened over the 6 years. I had agents come to me that were not connected to me at all, that were like, hey, is it all right if I come to your mastermind? Is it okay if I plug into what you're doing? Because my sponsor left, or, my upline, so to speak, they promised me all this stuff. They promised that they would give me leads. And then I haven't even spoken to them since I joined. They just ghosted me. And I would hear this every week. I still hear it every week. And you and I are the same. We're like, oh, of course. Here's the Zoom link. What does it cost me to let a few more people in and, give them some resources? By the way, cost nothing. And so I did that, but that was not the norm. There's people being excluded from going to events or certain trainings or even logging in to a freaking Zoom call because they're not in the right group. Yeah. And that's just not how I operate. And I feel like that's not natural. And I don't think that that's what's best for our agents either. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it's important to unpack that just a little bit more, Dustin, and define, because there are people out there that are like, what are you talking about? So there's this concept that eXp created called a silo, which is basically building kind of a brokerage within a brokerage that has its own value proposition. And the game that everybody's playing is we have to give away as much value, as much, we have to give away more value and more free stuff in this silo than this silo over here. Well, the problem was that everybody then starts to create this bigger value, but this bigger and better value proposition. And you nailed it. Like somebody gave a Tesla shortly after we left. It's like,
I'm not even mad at them. Like they're playing the game at a level that I couldn't.
They're playing the game. But here is the point. It's really hard to compete against.
Yeah.
Like if you're coming in thinking that you're going to grow this massive network, and we have some pretty hardcore, compelling examples of people that have transitioned to eXp, like massive influencers that are having a really hard time growing inside of that culture because you're competing against everybody else that just keeps on raising their value propositions. And these are men and women that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. You try coming in and competing against that when the goal is just to win at all costs. That's what it felt like, when I was there. Versus, and here's what people need to know. Versus a culture that when I saw this for the first time and I heard that Real, for example, doesn't allow silos, I was like, well, how is that going to work? And I've actually had that question. Like, how is that going to work? Like, how do you attract agents to you if you don't have a value proposition, right? Like, how does that? Well, let's just start by stating the facts, okay? So, Dustin, you had 375,
340.
340, excuse me. 340 partners in your network after 6 years at eXp. How many do you have today in 2 years at Real?
I'm 3 days shy of 2 years. I have over 1,100. And I have personally sponsored more agents already to Real than I did in 6 years at eXp.
With no silo?
No. In fact, I have to do so much less now than I did then.
Okay, bingo. Okay, so 1,540 in 7 years at eXp. We're going to crest 2,000 partners by the end of this month. And we just passed 2 years at Real Brokerage with a fraction of the effort because we're plugging them in to this concept called One Real. We talked about it. We were on a mastermind yesterday. We talked about somebody asked the question, how are you plugging your people? What are you doing for your people? And I was like, I'm plugging them in, baby. Like I'm plugging them into all of these other, a 33,000 plus agent network that are all, is it perfect, Dustin?
No,
it's not perfect, but it's complete. It's the antithesis of, I'm going to keep, the very best stuff for my little group of agents, which we all played that game at eXp, to be fair, all of us, right? And I love what you said. Like we wanted to let everybody in, right? But we were playing the game that everybody else was playing. So we come here, and now all of a sudden I've got Tim Macy, I've got Eric Hatch, I've got Zook, I've got Ken Pozek, all these people that I'm not necessarily connected to at all that are pouring into my people on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and that is what makes this so powerful. And for me, I do still own a real estate company, a property management company, and a real estate investment company. And all three of those verticals have done this since coming to Real, because I'm not so focused on this other piece. And again, that was my decision, to be fair, but I don't need to be as focused as I was on this. And it's growing exponentially faster with more money you said this really well also. But these other verticals that I own, because I'm able to focus on them, what we focus on expands, they're all up and to the right.
I'm going to paint a picture here to dive deeper on this, because what we're talking about, this one big silo called Real, where you get access to everything from everybody, regardless of who you choose as your sponsor, that is so magical. So at eXp, my attrition rate was 55%, meaning that 5.5 out of 10 people that came into my group left. It's hard to build a business that way. Yes. When you need to bring two just to keep one. It's frustrating. So growth is slow and it's hard, and you lose a lot of great people. And so as I was researching whether I wanted to come to Real, because I did not want Real to be the thing, because I had always looked down on it as like, it's little brother. They just ripped off eXp's business model and made it a little bit cheaper, but it's not better. They only have 5 levels versus 7. And like, I just had that superficial view of it. But then I heard this one stat that absolutely blew my mind. Real's attrition rate is 7%. So 93% of agents go to Real and stay. To me, that told the whole story. I just needed to dive into the details of the story. Why do 9 out of 10 agents go to real and stay. And that's when I started to really see the difference between all these little silos competing with each other. And by the way, there's some great silos. There's some great sticky groups that do a fantastic job over at eXp, for sure.
Yep.
If you go there, you're just going to have to create your own to compete with it. That's what sucks. But at Real,
or join, or Dustin, or join that silo, but that does not solve the problem of the overall culture, right?
Correct.
Like if I'm looking at it today, and like if I had no other option, I've got to go to eXp, and I know what silo I'm joining. Like I know what silo I'm joining because they're the loudest, they're providing the most free stuff, the most value, the most free trips, the most right. And so to your point, if you're in any other group trying to grow, you can't compete.
That's right.
So then it's not eXp Realty, it's XYZ silo.
That's right. That's right. So as I started to look at what makes Real special, and I asked agents like, why do you like Real? Like, why did you join? And that's when I started to see what you've already described here is at Real, nothing is ever held from you based on who you choose as your sponsors. You get access to everything from everyone, no matter what, in addition to what you get from your sponsors, in addition to the support and the direct partnership that you get from your sponsors. So once you're an agent at Real, nothing's held from you. Yeah. You get access to all of it.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's when I said that I have to do less here. By the way, I'm working a ton, but there's just so much stuff that I don't have to recreate because Real has already built this amazing one big company with masterminds all day, every day, courses, trainings, events, the technology, everything.
Yeah.
My job, so at eXp, I had to be a power source. You had to be a power source. At Real, the power source is Real. It's called One Real.
Yep.
Our job here is to be the extension cord and just connect people to the power source that already exists. We don't need to create our own. Yeah. It's already there.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I can in a good conscience, recommend, hey, you should go join Eric Hatch's CEO Connect Mastermind on Mondays. Cause I know you want to build a team. I know you're trying to turn what you're doing into a business. That's the mastermind you need to be on. Oh, you want to attract agents? You need to be on our AAU call every Tuesday. And I can prescribe these different groups
and that whole crew, right? It's incredible that, I mean, we could stop right here, right? Because I mean, this is the major difference to me, and we're going to get into technology in just a second because that's a big difference as well. But the major difference is the philosophy at Real is completely different than the philosophy at eXp. Listen, not that it's right or wrong, right? It's just for you and I. And I hope we're articulating some of the reasons why we, obviously we feel like it's a better opportunity. But if you want to go create a silo, I guess, or you want to plug into a silo, then maybe that's the right fit for you. But if you want to plug into a silo, which you said, I love the way that you said it, Dustin, and that is the Real silo, the Real platform silo. Right, and not have to compete against your brothers and sisters that are wearing the same jersey, then you should take a hard look at Real.
1000%. It's about proximity. It's about access without limits.
Yeah,
it's truly incredible. The other day, there's this fairly large team in Ohio that I've been talking to, and they're considering Real, and there were just a couple things with the numbers that were a little bit over my head. And so I brought in someone that I'm not connected with. They're not my sponsor, not in my upline, but just another one of the leaders at the company that is really good with numbers and financials and economics for teams. I brought them in. They're like, absolutely, let me help. And we got on a 3-way call together, and they walked these people through the stuff, expecting nothing in return. They just knew that it would help Real, and they just wanted to be helpful. That's the type of agent that Real attracts. It's truly refreshing. So I want to make sure that I get this said, because in this podcast, I am having so much more fun now in real estate than I ever have in my 16-year career. These last 2 years have been so much more fun because I feel like I'm working with friends. I don't have to be everything to everybody. I just have to connect them and let them go fly off and, you know, connect with their own little groups and get their own resources with what they want to build. Like if they want to be a YouTuber for lead gen, there's YouTube masterminds. There's really high level YouTube creators that they'll just bring someone in and teach them the blueprint. Yeah. And so I connect people over there, and it's so much more fun. And we were talking before we recorded too. I was looking at the agents that I personally brought to Real over these last 2 years. It's like 60 to 70% of them have brought another agent. Mm-hmm. That's staggering. And naturally. And it's like when you go see a great movie, what do? You go tell your friends.
Talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, you go to a great restaurant, you tell your friends, you got to go there and you got to get the Al Pastor.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing. An agent comes, they're having fun, their business is increasing, they're more efficient because of the technology tools, they dive into the banking platform, they're making more friends and having more fun in general and making more money. They're not going anywhere. And they're going to be screaming from a mountaintop and bringing their friends, which is what we've seen. That's how I've been able to go from 0 to over 1,100 agents in 2 years. And you've gone from 0 to basically 2,000 in 2 years.
Yeah.
For all these reasons.
Yeah, it's such a great point because it's easier. There's zero question that it's easier to attract. Zero question that it's easier to attract to, and it's sticky. I mean, agents are sticking around, right? So let's unpack. You know, that was a big reason I think for both of us is wanting to detach, you know, from that piece. But the other thing that I saw, first of all, the transition, you know, you mentioned onboarding a couple minutes ago. I hired a full-time onboarding person because the onboarding at the time, and maybe it's improved now, I don't know.
I hope so.
But the onboarding was really not good, and we were onboarding a lot of agents. And so I had a full-time employee to help with, you know, with onboarding at the time. Well, obviously I don't need that here. I mean, 1,200 agents, 1,000 partners in 2 years, 1,000 a year, right? All of those have gone through the onboarding system at Real completely seamlessly. Same experience, Dustin?
My experience made me laugh. So when I first joined eXp, it's now 8 years ago. So that was in May of 2018. It took 14 days to onboard. And I remember they just bombarded me with emails. All these different logins and platforms and all these things. And it was just like, you know, they just throw you in the deep end, like, here you go. I hope it's improved, and I heard that it has. But when we switched to Real, I was so earlier in the day, I initiated my license transfer, and then I went to the gym. So I went to the gym in the afternoon, and I remember getting a text. I was sitting there between sets, and I get a text, and there's a video from Tamir, our founder, welcoming me to Real, and then one link is download our app. And I clicked on that, downloaded the app, and then the app guides you step by step. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Very streamlined, very simple, and obviously automated. And I remember laughing. Like I was chuckling to myself. I'm like, that's it?
Yeah.
It was underwhelming. It was like, that's it? I'm in? Right. And then I realized how amazing it was that it was overwhelming or underwhelming. And I'm in. And agents, I don't have to spend a ton of time or any like guiding, you know, holding someone's hand to help them get in the system. Like the system is automated and set up in such a streamlined way through our technology that it's a no-brainer. And maybe if they have like 40 transactions that they're bringing over and, you know, there's some stuff that needs to be done with paperwork, but for the most part, like it is so easy and it's instant.
Yeah, and everything's in one place. I had a meeting with a big producer, team leader yesterday here in Richmond, and was walking her through our technology, and she was like you don't have to leave this platform for this. I was like, nope. Well, what about this? Nope. What, transaction management? Nope. E-signatures? Nope. CRM? Not anymore with the AI RM. We'll talk about it in a sec. So you can literally run your entire business from one platform, and obviously onboarding was a big part of that. Fees and commission structure, Dustin, I think we're both on the same page here. In fact, I remember saying this to our leadership team. I've said it a couple of times, like, why don't we charge more? Because it's not about a lower cap. Maybe it is for some people. It wasn't for me, right? It was the opportunity for all the reasons we've already discussed, and some that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. But we've got a low cap of $12,000. We've got no monthly fees. That one did surprise me. I didn't realize how many agents didn't love paying that monthly fee.
Yeah.
So no monthly fees, low cap. So for most agents, it's going to be less expensive to run your businesses here. But again, that wasn't the most important thing for me. How do you feel about it?
I was leaving behind about $10,000 a month in revenue share when I left, and I was telling myself, though, as I was going through this due diligence process, I'm like, I'm not just going to move to a different company just to save $1,000 or $2,000 on a split or save a little bit on some fees. It can't just be a lateral move, because if I'm going to go to agents that I brought to this company and with a straight face say, hey, this company's better, like, it had better be better in all the ways and dramatically better. And so, like, I set the bar so high, like, yes, real is cheaper for the vast majority of agents, but it needs to be dramatically better in other ways too.
Yeah.
Because if you're not having fun, and if your business isn't expanding, if you're not increasing and going from 10 sales to 20, or even just increasing your profitability or whatever, or learning new skill sets, what's the point? And real is not the cheapest brokerage. You'll always find a cheaper brokerage. If cheap is all you want, there are plenty of flat fee brokerages out there for under $500 a deal or less.
Right.
So I looked at it as, is this the best value in the industry? And once I saw, compared to where I was coming from, less expensive for the vast majority of agents. So that's great. I too was surprised how many agents loved getting rid of the monthly fee, myself included. $100 a month or 95 or whatever it is, like, nobody wants an extra $100 a month charge. It just keeps coming and coming and coming and coming. No one wants that. And and I've since talked to agents from like Remax or some of these other brokerages that are paying $1,000 a month just to hang their license at a brokerage as a desk fee, and they don't have a desk.
Yeah.
So they're cutting $12,000 a year just right there, let alone splits, cap, fees, all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. What I think the real opportunity is, and for the real producers, for the real business builders, for the real influencers, the opportunity is not just going from a cap of $16K to a cap of 12. It's not just eliminating a $95 monthly fee. Are you putting yourself in the room with people that are a step or two or three ahead of you in what you're trying to do, who are incentivized financially to help you do it too? That is the magic of real.
It is. Yeah. Well, and again, to have access to 32,000 agents instead of just a little, a handful of agents that are pouring into you, you've got this entire community. And Becca, let's just put a screenshot here of the academy, because we've got this massive community of the best at Real that we all have access to, all of us, right? So for whatever we want to plug into, wherever we're stuck in our business, you've got access to that, and you don't have to like beg your way into a group. So that's I
got to say something. I want to make sure this is said. This was a big deal for me. You were in a different situation. You were part of a different group. You had more access at the other company that I did, just based on your group size and everything. I had a very different experience on the way out. So first off, one of those frustrations is I felt invisible. I felt like it didn't matter that I was there. And look, I'm not a vain guy. I don't have this giant ego, but I'm also a realist. I have one of the biggest podcasts in the industry, and I have a decent social media presence. Like, I have some decent, a decent footprint in the industry. Right. And it was mind boggling. I'm like, use me, like, let me use my platform to help this company that I want to help build. Right. And they didn't give a crap. either they didn't understand podcasts or new media, or they didn't care, and they're both bad. So I felt invisible. I felt like I was just another one, but I didn't really fully recognize that until I left. When I left the other company, I heard nothing. I heard nothing. 0 people reached out except for one, Kevin Kaufman in Arizona. He's a friend of mine, good guy, great guy. I'm not even connected with him. I was not part of his downline or anything. He was the only person that wished me well or said anything when I left. I know you heard a bunch more. I heard nothing. And that was kind of like, yeah, that's about right. That doesn't surprise me. The first week I'm at Real, we have that big monthly all hands company-wide meeting called Real Connect, where we all get together, talk about what's going on in the company and, new things happening. And I was welcomed in front of the entire company by Sharon himself. And that little bit of visibility, like for the first time, I felt seen and appreciated just a little bit.
Yeah.
For me, I cannot tell you what kind of an impact that made on me personally, because we all crave being seen. We all need to be seen. We all need to feel like we're appreciated and important and that we matter. And I did not at the other company. And just in the first week, and then when I made an announcement video, the outpouring of agents who I've never met before, they're like, awesome. Welcome to the team. Welcome to Real. You're going to love it here. Let me know if I can help you. And like, I immediately gained, 30,000 plus new friends.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just different, man. It's just different. We're not like them. So let's spend a few minutes on this tech piece, because, when you talk about, first of all, the culture is what makes this thing so sticky, but, or I should say, and the technology, because I spend a lot of time when people are interested in having a conversation about Real. I spend a lot of time on these two pieces. Because Real started building their technology from the ground up, and because we integrated artificial intelligence before other companies were even thinking about it, and now that AI is moving so fast, we are so far ahead of the game. I mean, Dustin, are you beta testing Leo for clients?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just goofy, right? So the potential that this company has to truly make an agent's life more efficient when they're running their business here, I think is well beyond certainly well beyond what traditional brokerages are doing, right? But well beyond any other virtual brokerage in our space, because we started so much. And if we want to compare and contrast, eXp has just taken a different approach. And they're not shying away from it. They're bolting on, right? Mm-hmm. So they are bringing in third-party tools and making these collective bargaining agreements and offering those tools to their agents. We're building all of our technology under one platform, and it's so, for example, the banking platform. So not only can you run your businesses and your transaction management, and now the very first AI RM, which is an artificial intelligence relationship management tool that is rolling out Q1 and Q2, but you can run your banking through this platform as well. And the implications of that for you and I, and for the company as we continue to mature and drive adoption is really exciting. So any comments on our tech?
I didn't appreciate great tech until I saw it. I mean, technology is, to your point, is moving so fast, and especially right now with AI, and now AI is building itself, and it's getting crazy with agents and all this stuff, AI agents. So it's moving so fast, and I think most brokerages just made a decision a while back to just kind of see what happens, and they did not get ahead of it, and they're kind of stuck trying to play catch up. I mean, to your point, and it's not just eXp, it's so many other companies, as they grow in agent count, they just start adding more tools on. And so the technology of the other company was called Enterprise, and you log in and it has like 70 tiles of all these different logins to other things. And you're like, you don't know what any of it is. It's overwhelming. So when I came to Real and I had one login and it opened up the app and everything's there, and we built and own all of it. I mean, except for Lofty, which we have a partnership with for CRM, because Real, to their credit, Real's like, why would we build a CRM when there's already great ones out there? Like, let's not waste all of our resources to build one. Let's just partner with one and spend our time building the stuff that'll actually move the needle that doesn't exist out there. So I log into the Rezen app and everything's there, all in one login. And I'm like, wait, this is not fancy, but everything within one, like my tax forms, a copy of my ICA, when does my license expire, my transactions, e-signature, a wealth planning tool, marketing center, so I can get, just listed graphics for social on Canva,
education, healthcare, banking, like
all of it in one place. And I'm like, this is going to help agents be so much more productive because it's all here. They don't have to bounce around to 100 different places to do all this stuff. And what I've seen is, part of that sticky reason why 93% of agents come to Real and stay, they're more productive here. Mm-hmm. And the technology is one of the reasons. It by increasing their efficiency and making it easier to manage transactions, making it easier to do their marketing, making it easier to manage finances and manage their team if they have one, all in one place, even on their phone, and then have the AI assistant pull up an inspection report from a house you sold 2 years ago so you don't have to dig through your email or your CRM trying to find it. There's so much efficiency there. Agents can spend more time on money-making activities. And you alluded to Leo for clients. I mean, talk about taking a big chunk off an agent's plate. Like if prospecting and nurturing is now taken off the plate of the agent, it doesn't have to be 100% off the plate. Like there's still a need for you to personally do some of that stuff with some people. But imagine if you're paying for Zillow leads or homes.com leads and Leo answers those incoming phone calls for you and nurtures
your voice
in your voice.
Yeah. If you want it to. And so, you can't, I don't think you can underscore how fast technology is moving because we have this foundation, right? Which is already really, really solid. You can run your entire business from this platform, but because artificial intelligence is writing 100% of our code and it's all in one defined ecosystem. And I've had these conversations with Pratesh, our CTO, with Tamir, our founder, like what comes next? And I mean, like in the next 12 to 24 months, because, AI is building everything. It's being overseen by our developers, but it's rapid. And so this Leo for clients thing, and Rebecca, if we want to throw up another screenshot for this part as well, if you've got a listing, and just imagine you can have a unique QR code for that listing, and somebody drives by and takes a picture of that QR code, and then on their phone, your unique landing page pops up with a brain that's kind of like Siri or Jarvis from Iron Man. And you can, and that brain in your voice, if you wanted to, can start having a conversation with that lead. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by the property. If you have any questions, I'm here to help, kind of thing. Well, hey, yeah, actually, I can't see in the backyard. Does this property have a pool, right? Actually, it doesn't. Would you like for me to send you properties nearby that have a pool? Yes, I would. Great. Well, so, and then boom, they're on our national search portal that we now own because we own all of our technology, not on Zillow, right? They're on your unique landing page looking at homes that are obviously all pulled from the MLS the same way that Zillow would, but they're captured inside of your ecosystem and a profile is immediately built of that lead in your AIRM in one place on your app, on your phone or your desktop. And it can take them through the pre-approval. It can take them through scheduling showings for their for homes through a showing time integration. I mean, on and on and on. I mean, the future of this thing will be writing. It's already reviewing contracts. It'll be writing contracts for us. Again, you can go buy that stuff third party, right? But there's a difference between buying it and trying to plug it in and having it all integrated.
1,000%. I heard Tamir say this, but his goal is to make it so that the agent right now, let's say you're selling 30 homes a year. If you had a bunch of that stuff taken off your plate, like prospecting and nurturing, and it was done by AI in a very highly efficient way to where, at the end, it just spits out a ready to go client, you could service 60, 80 clients a month. If you could just focus on money making activities, getting leads into the system, and then servicing the actual clients, you can do so much more.
Yeah.
And that's the goal of all of this, is how can we make agents so efficient and productive that they can double or triple their output and their sales.
Yeah.
And that's what we're spending our time building. And that when I saw the vision behind that, this was before Leo for Clients was ever even introduced to us, but I saw the banking platform, which was not launched. It was just an idea when we joined. But I saw the vision, and I'm like, they're thinking so much bigger. They're playing chess, and these other companies are just, I don't know what they're playing. They're playing catch up for sure. And I thought, that's a company that I want to invest in. That's a company that I want to be a part of, because, like, why wouldn't you? So that contributes to the fun that I'm having. Is just being ahead of the curve with what's happening tech wise in our industry, instead of just watching it and trying to figure it out on our own. Our company is leading the charge for all of us.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the stickiness of the company as well.
Yeah. Agreed. So let's start wrapping this thing up, man. And, it's been almost 2 years for you, just over 2 years for me. If you had to summarize, your 2 years at Real in just a short kind of snippet, what would you say?
I'm having fun again. Real estate is so fun. I'm building a business with friends, and I have a direct interest in seeing their business grow. Like, that's such an amazing thing when my partners, when they grow, when they sell more, when they attract agents, when they start and scale a team, like, that's all part of my business. And so, like, I'm not just a cheerleader because I'm a good guy. I'm a cheerleader because, like, we're all growing and building together. To me, that's freaking fun.
Yeah. Amen.
And if that was true, but the people I was around I didn't like, and that I wasn't really friends with, but I just kind of tolerated, it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah.
I feel like Real attracts a certain type of agent, an entrepreneur, and someone who lives in abundance, not scarcity, and they're collaborative. An entrepreneur who's abundant and collaborative. That's who Real attracts. That's who I am. So I feel like I have 33,000 friends. And that makes it fun every single day to show up and plug in, and not to mention have a seat, like legitimately have a seat at the table to help the company make decisions and to launch new programs and things for the company, which we have done and are doing. I felt invisible at the other place. I feel like I'm steering the ship at this place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well said, man. Here's what I would say, and this is me being as transparent as I feel like I can be and want to be. Change is scary, and we both have friends that are with other brokerages. We both have friends that are at eXp. So I'd be lying if I said to you that if you are you're thinking about making a move. And honestly, I don't know that it matters what brokerage, but the experience that I had was not good. It was not good transitioning. Fortunately, I also have a wife who is a partner who's in my corner, who went through it with a previous network marketing experience, and so I can't promise you that it's not going to be not fun. And I bring that up, Dustin, because I would do it again tomorrow. Based on the previous 2 years, the new relationships that I have, the amount of fun that I'm having building this alongside them, alongside you, the future, the vision for this company. Obviously I believe in, I wouldn't be here but change is hard. It's hard, but it was worth all of it. It was worth all of it for my family, for my team, for my partners like you that, that have fortunately followed on this journey. It was worth all of the hard stuff, all of that suckiness. And so I just want to encourage you, if you are, if you have thought about making a move, just know that this is 100% Dustin and myself being transparent with what has happened over the past 2 years, and it's been incredible. And we're just getting started. This industry as a whole is tough. It hadn't gotten easier; it's gotten harder, right, Dustin? Just to sell houses and to service our clients. And so knowing that we have people with a vested interest in our success, knowing we have a leadership team where we don't feel like another number is a big deal. And so I just would encourage you to do your diligence like we did and take a really hard look at all of the models, right? Like, I mean, that's what I did. And I just found the model that I feel works best for me and for who I am as a man.
Same. And, for the first time in my 16-year real estate career, I feel like because of Real and because of, the one big company and everyone's connected to each other and there's not that bashing for who sponsors who and all of that. I mean, we have co-sponsorship that's literal, actual, true co-sponsorship where you can choose two partners if you need to. If you're having a hard time deciding between a local partner and a national partner, you can have both. So I mean, and what that leads to is just incredible. But I'll say this: Real makes real estate a team sport. I've never seen anything else like it. But this has not been all sunshine and lollipops. There have been bumps in the road over these last 2 years. There have been headaches and frustrations a little bit. Minimal. I mean, I'm being transparent, but there's been very few of them, but there's still been some issues and, some teams have had issues with onboarding and stuff, but because this is a team sport and everyone has direct access to the decision makers and those that are making the company work behind the scenes, we can get stuff solved so fast. We can go right to the decision makers and just solve stuff right now instead of submitting a support ticket and hopefully someone gets back to you this week. So when I say Real makes real estate a team sport, really sit on that for a minute. In all the different ways that being part of a team matters, that is what is happening here. And that contributes to why I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So listen, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put some links. If you want to connect with Dustin, there'll be some links in the description below this video. Same thing for me. And Dustin, I love you, brother. Thank you. I know you're a busy guy, and it's been a fun 2 years, and can't wait to see what the next 12, 24, 36 months brings. So have a great day. Appreciate you joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, man.